Welcome to the Create, Connect, Convert.co podcast, where big dreams and bold moves come to life. If you are an innovative, legacy-driven female business owner or entrepreneur who's here to grow, glow, and get it done, this podcast is for you. This isn't just another business podcast. Oh no, here we've got four powerhouse women, each bringing a unique flavor of expertise to help you sharpen your brand, build profits, and bring that much desired freedom to your life. It's like having four mentors in your pocket. We're here to laugh, to get real, and to remind you that business is meant to be fulfilling, fun, and full of possibilities. So wherever you are today, grab this moment and fuel your creativity, because Create, Connect, Convert.co is here to help you build the business and a life you've been working for. So welcome back to Create, Connect, Convert.co, the podcast. I'm excited to be here. I am Laura Templeton, your host for today on this episode of Create, Connect, Convert.co. Thank you again for being here with us. I'm excited to share with you today some tips and insights on how to embrace AI when you are creating that brand voice with consistency. So let's dive in. But before we do, I want to introduce you to my co-hosts for today. Today, we have three amazing, extraordinary women who are working in this field of helping people to highlight their work with the content, the creation, the creativity, and the impact that matters in your market. So I'm going to ask Regina to go ahead and introduce herself first.
Hi, everyone. My name is Regina Garay. I am a digital marketing manager and educator, which means that I either help manage your marketing or teach you how to manage it yourself. I primarily work within the design and construction industries. And you can find me, the name of my business is Right Brain Loves Left, because I love creativity put together with analytical thinking.
Beautiful. I love that. Carolyn, how about you share a little bit about yourself for us?
Hey, I'm Carolyn Choate, and I am an author turned marketing fan. So I have been helping online entrepreneurs and other authors to get more out of their websites and their books.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love it. And if you don't know her, we refer to Carolyn as our funnel queen. She loves funnels, I'm telling you. So, Christy, how about you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, everyone. I'm Christy Crippen. I'm a virtual administrator, and I'm the founder of Collaborative Partners Administrative Services. And I offer coaching and administrative services to hardworking entrepreneurs and small business owners. And my mission is to help take the overwhelm out of their day and replace it with feelings of feeling overjoyed, whether it's productivity, time management, organization, habits, accountability. All of that matters in terms of your own happiness and fulfillment as a business owner.
So, and I'm Laura Templeton with 30 Second Success, helping impact-driven leaders make more out of their communications efforts, helping you figure out what it is that you need to say to attract the clients that you deserve, or make the impact that matters most to you in your business. So that's who we are. This is an amazing collaboration. The four of us have joined together to bring to you Create, Connect, Convert.co. And today we are talking about AI in your branding and helping you understand the impact that you can create and embracing AI to help you do that, right? We're all about creating more efficiency in our businesses and connecting with the audiences that we're meant to serve. And one of the things that I want to make sure that we understand is how to embrace technology to help us make a bigger impact in a bigger way. So let's dive in and talk about understanding your brand voice, right? Your brand voice really refers to the unique personality and tone and style that a brand uses to communicate with its audience, right? It's really about the words that you use, the phrases, the emotional undertones that reflect your character and the values that your brand is all about, right? It's making sure that you're doing so with consistency so that you are making an impact and you become memorable to your audience. That's what your brand voice really is intended for when it comes to marketing your business. So let's dive in. I love asking questions about brand voice and people's understanding of it. So, Regina, can you share with us how you define your brand voice and why it's so important to the work that you do?
Absolutely. So, when you're defining your brand voice, and I actually give my brand voice uh, specific words. So I say inspiring, informative, kind, and confident. Those are the four that I use. Now, this being said, you can actually develop, entire sentences or an entire kind of personality for your business that's going to speak for you wherever you are. It's how it speaks to your audience on your website, on your social media, on your newsletters, on your flyers, anything that you're putting together. But you also have to determine whether that business will reflect you or whether it's more corporate or more, self-standing, and whether it reflects other attributes. So once you determine that, you can start putting together how you'd like your communications to come forth.
I love that. And I will say, I was so impressed when I did your Canva class last night that you actually told Canva your four words, right? When you were showing us how to create documents and really program. It's very similar to setting up your custom instructions for ChatGPT. You can actually put your brand voice in there and train AI to understand who you are and to understand your brand voice. But first and foremost, you need to understand your brand voice. So, Carolyn, what are some of the practical steps for discovering and refining a unique brand voice? I know that you deal with this a lot when you're working with people to create those funnels that they need to help market their business. So, what are some of the ways that you help them understand that?
I think a lot of us solopreneurs start out thinking that we need to be very corporate and emotionless, and it has to sound professional. And I love that Regina brought out that there's a time for that. Maybe that is the voice that you want for your business. I think a lot of times you stand out more when you can tap into your unique personality, and that really draws people to you, that authentic voice. So when I'm creating funnels for people, I'm listening to the words that they use and then kind of repeating it back. And they go, "Oh my goodness, you wrote this copy that sounds so amazing." And I'm like, "Yeah, because I wrote down what you said, literally." So the more that you can like capture, you just write down the same way that you speak, then I think it has this energy to it that can be missing when you're trying to hide your real personality. But it is, like Regina said, great to think first, is this a business that is about me and my personality, or is this a business that is supposed to be sort of um, not have that kind of personality? But I will say that even like, you know how Wendy's and Burger King and all of them get into fights on Twitter? People love that. It's hilarious and it creates so much attention because it's like, oh, we expected this to be a buttoned up corporate thing, and now they're just like slinging insults at each other. It has so much personality to it, and people love it.
And I think that's one of the biggest things is to really understand what people need to hear, right? When we understand our audience and really having a really well-defined
Mhm.
audience that we work with, like Regina really talks about working with people in the industry, in the construction trades, and really helping them on design trades. I'm sorry, Regina. I know
It's both. It's both.
I love that you talk about that. And I want to make sure that I respect that and I respect the heck out of the fact that you know who you work with. And sometimes then it kind of helps us lead to that brand voice, right? It really helps us understand how we can tailor our brand voice to speak to that audience. And I think it's really powerful. So Christy, I know that you work with a lot of different uh I'm sorry, a lot of different people in that coaching field, in the executive field, and a lot of your clients are trusting you to help them create content. So what's something that you listen for when you're helping to create content for your clients?
It's about what are the pain points that you solve for your own clients? So whether your company, you're a service-based company, you're a product-based company, maybe you're both. What were you put on this earth to do in terms of helping people? Why did you start your business? Who are you helping? What are the kinds of things that are keeping your clients up at night, that they're staring at the ceiling, they can't fall asleep because they're fretting about probably a laundry list of things. So how do we tap into that? How do we get into the mindset of your clients and your audience so that they say, "Oh, this person understands me. This person gets me and what I am going through." And then we speak to that.
Again, it's really having that deep understanding of your audience. That really is impactful. I love that. I love that. And asking people what the pain points are. What are they struggling with? It really helps you identify more about how they want to connect with their audience. So for you, for somebody who's actually creating content for other people, it's just as important for you to understand someone else's brand voice to be able to support them.
Yes. And one of the big questions that I ask my clients is, what do you want your audience to walk away with when they read this piece of content? What is the object? What is the purpose of this piece of content, number one? And then what do you want them to walk away having gotten from it?
Right. Yep. That's powerful. That's really powerful because, sometimes it is, what is the result that you're looking for? Some people have a tendency to just throw content out there and not really know what the purpose of it is. It's just, I need to put content out, right? So I love that. That's a great point. Thank you for sharing that. So, ladies, let's talk a little bit more about AI, right? We mentioned a few tools that we love. I personally am a huge fan of ChatGPT. There's so many different options for things that I've been playing with Midjourney. I've been playing with Canva. Regina's taken me down the whole Canva rabbit hole when it comes to AI. I'm telling you, she's the go-to person for learning how to use that. But let's talk a little bit more about some of these tools. And I'm going to ask, I know, Carolyn, one of the questions I would love to ask you, because especially from the author perspective, how has AI shifted your perspective? And what are some of the tools that you use that help you automate the side of, being an author? What are some of the tools that you find yourself leaning on and enjoying?
Oh, yeah, I think I have a different perspective on it because I am a little more reluctant and skeptical with AI. And yeah, as a writer, I'm kind of like, leave my job alone. But but no, I think for me the biggest thing that it can help with is the blank page syndrome,
Mm.
where you're having trouble getting started. So a lot of times what I use ChatGPT for is, to get me started on an idea. And I'll put in the prompt and I'll say, give me this, and I'll hate everything that it gives me. But in modifying it, I change everything, but it got me started. So it's kind of a conversation in that way. Now, I have not dived into setting up the custom instructions, so maybe I would like what I get back better if I did that.
For sure.
Definitely.
But
Definitely.
to me, like, the personality is so important, and it's really hard to get something back from AI that isn't like just slick. There's something about it that I just am like, where's the heart? Where's the human?
Mm.
It's the right words, but it feels empty.
So
So
I
I
think
just
that's, oh,
heavily
I'm sorry, didn't mean
modify
to cut
what
you
I
off there.
get.
Yeah. I'm sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there. Because me, I get all excited when I talk about this. I think that's one of the things, like you said, having those custom instructions set up really makes a difference, right? And having AI alone does not understand who you are, right? So you really need to educate it on who you are in order to maintain that brand consistency. That
And
brand
that's
voice
where
has
you
to be
also have to know yourself and your audience really well. So you have to start with that foundation. How do I put into words what my brand voice is so that I can tell
right.
ChatGPT what it is? That's still a work in
Yes.
progress.
Yeah.
And
And that is a challenge. Yeah. Regina, go ahead.
sorry to jump in here. I, like Laura, I'm a huge ChatGPT fan, an AI fan. It helps me tremendously. That being said, I come to it with content already written in how I speak. I don't start with a blank page on AI. I know many people do, but I like to do some of that brain work myself. So I bring it to ChatGPT, and if it veers off, because I just want it to polish it a little bit. I don't want it to change it or because it's me. If it veers off, I literally have conversations, can you please keep my voice, this, and I de-slickify, what it provides. So there's a lot of back and forth that you can work with it to develop your brand voice.
And
Even
I haven't heard people talk about bringing content first. That's a big one because I don't know if anybody knows that they can do that to bring a piece of content that you've already written and say, help me to make this a little bit more polished.
Yeah,
Right.
even a
Yeah.
tool like Grammarly. I use Grammarly. It'll gently tell me, hey, this sentence, could use an adjective or it's too, and it'll take words out because I tend to, you know, speak a lot and write a lot. I get a lot of excitement and add a lot of adjectives. So even that's one of my tools, Grammarly, to just put the sentences together. But yeah, I come to AI with content written
I
already.
get obstinate. Grammarly tells me this is in passive voice, and I go, yeah, yeah, it is. I want it that way.
Oh my goodness, I love it. I love it. And that, that's the biggest thing is how do we ensure that AI generated content stays authentic and aligned with their brand voice, right? How do we do that? How can we ensure that AI generated content is is speaking our language,
Mhm.
right? So one of the things that I'd love to invite Christy to answer that question because I know she, just like the two of you, have kind of that pull and tug relationship with AI because she loves creating content, right? So Christy, can you speak to AI, your experience with it, and how do you see it becoming more of an advocate for your business and helping you as you grow, as you expand, as you create content?
When it comes to the word authenticity is coming up for me so strongly right now. And, there are those times in life, probably quite often, where somebody will say, "Oh, you should be doing this," or "You should be doing that," and we're really like we're bombarded with that all day. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Let me rephrase that. We we are exposed to that all day long. And if we did everything that we hear about all the time, we would never sleep. And and so it's really, what are those things that really resonate and are really beneficial for us? And I think it ultimately comes down to, you have to press the pause button and really think about it. If I utilize this tool, is there a cost to it, a financial cost, number one? If there is a financial cost, am I going to get enough use out of this particular app, program, whatever a tool that will justify the cost? Am I going to get the return on investment by using this? Um, and you also have to look at, what are the benefits going to be? How will it make my life easier? Will it streamline my time? Will it streamline my thinking? Um, and so many great things are being discussed here. Something that was just recently discussed was about would you say that? You know, if you're using ChatGPT and it gives you something back and you read it and you think, well, ChatGPT said that, this is what I should say. And it begs the question, how many people use that platform and they put something out there, but deep inside them, there's this niggling feeling where they're going, is that really me? Would I really say that? Is that really my tone of voice? Do I express myself in that way? So I think it's about really knowing yourself and, oh no, I don't speak that way. I would never say it in that way. So I think it's about, I guess in summary, it's about really knowing yourself on a deep level. It's about trusting your gut, trusting your intuition. And it's also about doing the research. Talk to people and say, hey, do you use XYZ programs? And somebody might say, yeah, I love it. Here's why. Or somebody might say, I tried it. It wasn't for me. Oh, really, Bill? Why is that? Really, Sally, why didn't you like it? And they say, oh, well, I didn't get enough of this. And then you think, oh, well, that's exactly what I need from it. So that's clearly not going to be a good option for me.
Something
Thank
else
you.
another aspect to it that we haven't even mentioned, I think, is that you don't have to be using AI to create the content. You can also be using it to give you ideas about marketing activities or, what schedule should I use to post on Pinterest and things along those lines too, where it's not directly creating your content, but is giving you ideas for other business aspects.
Right. And that's the biggest thing. You can use it for ideation, you can use it for outlines, you can use it for thought starters, right? It doesn't have to be, the massive amounts of content that a lot of people actually like to create. And yet, when you do give it really defined parameters and you understand how to prompt it well and have the conversation, it can give you the content that really is authentic to how you speak. And I think that's the most important thing. Like Regina's saying, she brings content in that she's already written, right? So it's really authentic to how she speaks. I have programmed ChatGPT to understand me so well that everything that I and then I prompt it, very, very intentional prompting and making sure that it's responding. And if I don't like how it responds, I'm like, yeah, no, I don't like that. Try again.
Exactly. Exactly. Because it's
You know,
whatever it feeds to you, it doesn't
yeah.
need to be the end result. And I was going to say that you can even, let's bring in Pinterest for a minute. I love Pinterest analytics because it tells you a lot about the people who follow you, about their interests, what else they're looking at, pinning and all that. So you can actually bring that information in to ChatGPT and say, this is who my target is. This is how I speak. This is the things that Pinterest is saying they're interested in. What
Yep.
other ideas, what other ways, what other content can I generate, to work with this? So you can put different tools together, you know, um, to help you even develop that further voice and things that you didn't even think of that your target audience might be interested in that might just click with them.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
Christy.
Beautiful. I love that.
I wanted to offer something just very quickly and at the same time give a shout out to Regina because in the same way that our wonderful Carolyn is our funnel queen, Regina, I feel like you are our Canva queen. And I've learned so much about Canva from you and just following all of those, what I like to call energy paths and all of the exploration and how my ideas have grown and, broadened because of your astute teaching about how to use that program. One of the things that I love, and has been so helpful for me is when I am researching templates, you help me to better understand my brand voice and my colors and all of that. And what do I want to convey and what's the energy of my brand? And then when you're in Canva and you're looking at templates, and then you can follow a particular creator, and because you really love what that person is putting out, you can explore other, how do you narrow down your search and refine your search so that it really, really hones in on what you're looking for? How do you, explore all of these ideas? And then I think it's such a joyful experience when you really know who you are, and also that further depth of learning who you are and your brand's voice. And it's like a playground. It really is.
It is. I love that word that you used, energy, because that's
Mm.
exactly, Laura, don't you think that it encompasses what that brand voice is? What is the energy of this business?
Yep. That's beautiful. I love that. And you're right. It is, what is the energy that you're putting out into the universe? Because our brand voice and our branding is really about attracting the clients that we want to work with. It's about attracting the business or attracting the people that we want um, to be connected with. So yes, absolutely. That energy, your brand really does have an energy about it. And what is that energy that you want it to have? Thanks for sharing that. I love that. I feel like I need to do a
We're
visual
talking.
on that one.
Yeah. When you were talking
Yeah.
before about putting words into Canva, I don't know if it was in this spot, but like I was working on a new header image for a website today, and I'm just putting in like the keywords of the brand voice into the image search to see what does Canva throw back at me, and just scroll through and
Yeah.
get ideas. So that's
Yeah.
that's probably also done through AI to narrow in on your search and have the keywords of whichever image. But it can definitely spark a lot of creativity too.
So one of the questions that I have for you regarding, all of you can answer this one. I just want to make sure that I'm respecting everybody's time because I love going down this whole rabbit hole, like the whole AI thing. There's so many different AI platforms that we could be using, right? Because you've got ChatGPT, you've got Gemini, and there's things that we use in our everyday, right? The Fathom summaries, we have Fathom, and we use Otter, and we use Canva, and now Canva is using the OpenAI source code for for creating the amazing content, images, things like that, Mid-Journey, and so
Ooh,
as we
images. I need more help with the images thing because man,
oh, you need to connect with Regina. I'm just telling you, it's
oh,
pretty cool. Yeah,
my
like what
friend
she
who
showed
does
us
the book
last night. I'm like,
marketing stuff, like she was like,
yep,
"Oh, you
yep,
could make images for your characters," and I try to put in there, like what comes
yes.
back is like a horror movie. I'm like,
Oh
I gave it
yeah,
so much
Gotta work
detail,
it.
and
You
it
gotta
just
work it.
honed in on like two
gotta
words.
Yeah. So
All
one of
right,
the things that
Gina,
I
you're
really
gonna
want to
help
talk
me.
about is that brand voice and thinking about it from across different platforms, right? Across different touch points. Do we need to, right? How do we differentiate our brand voice across different platforms, right? Because we're trying to create that consistency. But we also want to, how do we communicate with diverse audiences, right? So one of the things that I know is a big thing right now is like I love working with women in particular in their businesses, right? Business development and really diving deep into that. So when I'm speaking to when I'm speaking in networking groups, I really started to talk more about supporting women in business. And yet, my new book, Compassionate Leadership, is really about corporate, helping people in that corporate. So I have to make sure that my brand is maintained across both platforms when I'm speaking to networking, when I'm speaking to corporate. So how do you do that? Make sure that your brand is still in alignment with who you are and yet speaking across platforms. What is something that you find that is helpful for you to maintain that? What's maybe whether it's AI, is it a platform that you use that helps you maintain consistency? And I know, Regina, you have an amazing insight into that when it comes to the setting up your branding
Mhm.
in Canva. But can you speak to that? The importance of making sure that your cross promotion is still in alignment.
Yes. Christy, did you want to head in first or
No, 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 please go ahead. Thank you.
you? Okay. I know that if you have a diverse audience, so you have to really know who your target audience is and what their individual pain points are, you can always maintain your brand voice for the different audiences. And just make sure that wherever you're speaking to them, you're speaking to them while still maintaining your core values. If you're talking about, a diverse audience, such as somebody with accessibility issues, you can also look at Canva to check your designs to make sure that the text is good, that the images contain alt text, that the colors, work well so that they are accessible by people who may not be able to see or may not be able to hear. So you've got all this kind of diversity going on in terms of what your audience is. In terms of how making sure, going back to ChatGPT, having that content written and just saying, this is where I am going, or this is where I'm presenting, this is my audience. Can you just polish it up or tune it up a little bit so that it directly, hits their pain points? And that's how I work throughout all the different audiences that I encounter personally.
Yeah, love that. Love that. And you're absolutely right. Being very specific in your prompting, letting the AI know where you're going to be using the content helps it to streamline it for that particular audience. That's a beautiful point. Thank you for sharing that. Christy, how about you? What did you want to share?
Going back to what we were saying earlier, all of the advice that we hear all the time, and oh, you need to be here sharing, and you need to be on this platform and that platform. And I think that there has been a real change, like a movement where people are saying, you know what, everybody's saying, oh, you need to be on this platform. That's not where my people hang out. That is not where my audience is. And I think that in relation to what we're saying at the start about knowing who you are, knowing, how do you really get clear on your brand voice? How do you know what your clients, what are their pain points? It's really about knowing yourself. Where do your people hang out? And
So
if you're if you're on a platform and it's not where your people are, that's going to drain you. Go back to the energy piece. Because every time you show up, it's going to feel like an obligation. It's going to be like, well, I'm supposed to be posting here. And it's not going to feel good. It's kind of like having a marathon grocery trip and you can't wait to run out of the store and go pack up the car and go home. Like that's how you're going to feel every time you post on this platform, like, oh, I can't wait to get out of this platform, and then go to the ones that you really want to go to. It's about how do you properly utilize your time, but it's also about is it in alignment in here internally, energetically? And because those people are going to resonate, they're going to feel your energy and they're going to resonate, they're going to be attracted to you and to who you are and learning more about you. So for me, like that's a really key point is press the pause button and think about, where am I showing up? And is this the right place for me to be? Because maybe your business has grown and evolved and congratulations, for that. And maybe that's no longer where you should be hanging out. Maybe you've been hanging out there because you've been told that's where you're supposed to be hanging out. So put the stake in the ground and say, you know what? I'm going to make some changes. And then figure out, if you do need to go to other pastures, figure out which are your right pastures and go hang out with those horses.
I love you.
I think
I
that's
love your analogies. They're so awesome.
No, I think
Thank
that's
you.
Carolyn,
in your business. Like when you first start out, you're just like listening to everybody and going everywhere and spread really thin. And eventually you do start honing in on who you are and who your audience is and where they are. And you can start filtering things through that lens and say, nope, I need to put my foot down and not be in that pasture. And so when I see people doing that, I think this is a moment of growing up in your business.
beautiful. Beautifully said. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love it. I love it. I love it. Ladies, this was a great conversation. I hate saying that it's our time's up, but our time's up. So, and thank you so much for your input. I love having this conversation, and I could, I could talk about AI all day long. And I love the all of your perspectives. So thank you for sharing that. And I'm going to just say, welcome. Thank you for being here. Make sure that you come back and listen again to the Create Connect Convert.co podcast. And until then, keep creating, keep connecting, and never stop converting your dreams into reality. So thank you for being here. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Create Connect Convert.co. We hope you're feeling inspired, empowered, and ready to make your next bold move. Remember, the journey doesn't end here. Head over to createconnectconvert.co to download our latest resources, sign up for our upcoming events, or hop on the wait list for our exclusive mastermind community. There's a seat at the table waiting just for you. Thank you for tuning in, and be sure to click like and subscribe. We'll see you back here next week to dive into another game-changing conversation. And here's a little something to carry you until then. Keep creating, keep connecting, and never stop converting your dreams into reality.